We move it on to the 2027s. So these guys have just completed, let's see, their sophomore season. So they still haven't stepped on the field as juniors. And I'm really curious about this guy basically because he's an all purpose guy. So I don't know where he's going to fit, but he's obviously multifaceted, multi skilled. Talking about Zane Rowe.
Zane Rowe out of Denton Guyer is a name that everyone's been really getting to know. He's really been on the rise. He really got a lot of notoriety, I think, as he went on the circuit this last season. But I think now again, I go back to when you see these kids in live reps, when you get to see him in the flesh, in the person, and when you get to see him outside of their freshman season, I think you want to see that growth and development. And like you said, Mark, these are guys that really haven't had a lot of opportunity despite their talent to really be a staple in their school program. So they use this off season, they use the camp, they use the 7-on-7 circuits, to really bolster and really get those live reps. And I think that, in the high school recruiting era that we live in now, these guys are almost having to work twice as hard as far as getting seen, because we see it every day where these elite guys, these 4 and these 5-star guys are having difficulty, you know, getting at the head of the table, with the transfer portal coming in. And then of course guys like Zane Rowe also are a unique asset when it comes to program that you almost want to that they almost have found a different path that they take, because like you said, they're an all-purpose guy. He's being recruited as a defensive lineman by most of the schools, but there's a couple schools that are looking because of his size and his frame, 6'5", 6'6", 220, that he could also kind of double as a tight end. But no matter where he goes, whether he's in the D line or he's at the tight end position, he definitely has a dynamic recruitment ahead of him. He was once an Oklahoma commit, even though he was a 2027. He was a verbal commit to the Sooners, but he's kind of shot. He since then has decided to reopen his recruitment, and rightfully so. He's still young, has the opportunity to test the waters, and I think now that he's had the opportunity to get out there, kind of sell his stock, kind of show his versatility, especially this weekend in Dallas. I think it gives him the opportunity to kind of, see what's out there aside from Norman. But Oklahoma still remains in the run. Texas is very much in the running. He has a strong relationship, with Jeff Banks out there. He hasn't really narrowed down the playing field, just kind of shared some of the schools that he's interested in. The only visit that he does have set up as of now, of course, would not on an official, but is down to Athens. He will be taking in Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs March 15th. So it's just right around the corner. So again, look for Zane Rowe to continue to make a splash on the camp circuit, and we look forward to bringing more about this rising star of the 2026 class in Denton Guyer in Texas.
Okay, LeeAnn, we are going back to the offensive tackle position, but now to 2027 and one of the very best, and we go back to Texas.
Back to Texas, like they say, is it everything's bigger and better in Texas. And if you're definitely looking for an offensive tackle at the high school level that you're willing to gamble on, that you're willing to build, Texas just might be the place that has some pretty strong guys. Brian Swanson, I actually started out my season down watching South Oak Cliff and North Shore down in Houston for that opening match. And Brian Swanson coming off the bus along with Cortavius Tisby, Arizona commit, who I had the opportunity to catch up with at the Navy All-American Bowl. Both those kids, you can see why they are in high demand. Already a 4-star. He's been a staple already early on for that South Oak Cliff, anchoring down that line. He's just a big body kid that again he's got that deceptive speed. He's a lot quicker than, despite his build. He put on another show this weekend down in Dallas, not too far from home. But again, South Oak Cliff, I really am surprised that often that they get overlooked. Another gem that really does produce some of the top linemen in the country. I think we should go down to South Oak Cliff a lot more, because I was extremely impressed, and that was at the start of the year. But from what film I saw this weekend on the one-on-ones, Brian Swanson is just continues to show why he's a top OT in Texas. Again, he just coming off, he's got such a quick step coming off the ball, and he really just hones in, and there's nothing that he's afraid to take down. And again, we saw it in full force this weekend here in Dallas. Some of the schools early on to watch are Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and LSU. We're hearing though that if the national champions, um, Ohio State Buckeyes, have been keeping a close eye on Swanson, and we're hearing from the buzz that there might be an offer in hand sometime soon. And we're hearing that if that were to be the case, that Ohio State would definitely take a big jump in Swanson's recruitment. So again, you can never say no to the national champions. But again, he's already building a strong offer sheet, one of the best offensive linemen to come out of Texas, out of South Oak Cliff. But again, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and LSU really solidifying their place in his recruitment. But again, Ohio State has been watching on. They've been recognizing his talent and the potential that he has to be a strong depth piece in that 2027 class. So don't be surprised if after this that Ohio State pulls the trigger and Brian Swanson will have his next offer from the national champions in the Buckeyes.
Okay, LeeAnn, anytime I see this on the notes, standing on business, I know you're getting serious, and I know this is a serious prospect. So I want to know why Peyton Houston has that note next to his name.
Well, the Louisiana native out of Evangelical Christian down in Shreveport put on a show. He stood on business at the QB position. There was a lot of guys as far as the linemen, the running backs, the wide receivers, the DBs. It really showed out. I wish that I could showcase everybody because, like I said, if you're going to come to Texas, there's going to be a ton of talent. But Peyton Houston, as far as that 2027 quarterback class, just really stood out to me. He talks about LSU, Miami, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, and Michigan are just some of the programs that he has on his mind. He doesn't have anything as far as visits as of this weekend, heading into the spring as far as any of those schools. He said he hasn't really decided a timeline as far as commitment. He's definitely taking in the process. He did win the QB MVP. Like I said, he put on a heck of a show this weekend. And when I read his accolades after that, it's hard to believe that after his showing and the numbers he put up at Evangelical Christian in Shreveport, why this kid isn't unranked. But it just goes to show, even if you don't have the stars, Mark, the talent will always prevail. And it definitely did for 2027 QB Peyton Houston. But again, he's one of those kids that programs are not willing to it doesn't matter that he's unranked or he's under the radar. In fact, they probably like that because they're getting into his recruitment early. But he already has 26 offers from plenty top Power 4 programs. But just kind of giving you his background outside his during his fall campaign, he had 5,170 total yards, 45 touchdowns. He set an NFHS record with 817 passing yards in a game, 5A state record of 4,400 pass yards, first team all district, first team all prep, first team LSWA all state, and he was also a max prep sophomore all American. As you can see, all the guys are on board. So watch out. Houston could not only be solidified with their 2026 QB and Keyshawn Henderson, but you best bet that they are keeping eyes on not too far away with some of the schools. But again, like you see, those are some of the smaller programs. But again, the Power 4 programs are going to be jumping on the Houston bandwagon probably very soon if they haven't already. Like I said, he only solidified, and I know I use that phrase a lot this weekend and a lot on the show today, but I think at these camps we continue to see this is what you want to see as a scout, this is what you want to see as a program. And remember, because we're in dead period, coaches are not at these events, so they're using film, they're using other things in order to be able to evaluate these kids from afar. So again, Peyton Houston almost had to work twice as hard to be able to jump off that film this weekend, but he definitely did do that with great success. And again, he's a kid that is definitely going to be on the rise, right at there at that 6', 6'1" kind of frame. But what I like about him, he's not just, a tall, lengthy with a tall frame kind of QB. If you look at him, and I think it attests to what kind of arm strength he has, Mark, is just that his upper body and his arms are just kind of more physical and built, more, kind of like a lineman or kind of like a bulkier kind of guy. but very still trim and slim. But I do believe that that power that he possesses in his throwing arm really shows with the way, not only with his tall frame, but his athletic built as well. And I think that that physicality and just kind of what we watched in the short amount of time that we saw this weekend, that he definitely will be getting a lot more phone calls. But Peyton Houston out of Evangelical Christian in Louisiana, definitely standing on business, and I look forward to seeing what he can do in the future with those schools that are after him. But plenty of schools are going. That 26 offer should be hit 36 by, I guess, by the next end of the week. I can imagine that.